Morning, everyone. Hope everybody had a good Easter, a lockdown Easter. You had some good food and relaxed. Hope you had a good time with your families. So this is I think we're day 6 of my lockdown legal mentoring videos. And the eagle-eyed amongst you will have spotted that I'm wearing a hat. And the reason for that is because, as some of you may have seen from other posts, I yesterday agreed to let my 13-year-old daughter cut my hair and give me a lockdown haircut. And I did that partly because obviously going crazy like everybody else, but also because I wanted to try and raise a bit of awareness around teen and mental health in young people in particular. At this time, because mental health gets very little coverage in the media, gets very little funding in comparison to physical health, and obviously the tens and hundreds of billions we're spending on protecting people's physical health at the moment. And young people will be suffering mental health impacts as much, if not more, than older people. So I'm wearing this hat because I'm trying to encourage people to make donations to a charity called Young Minds, which is providing support for young people during lockdown, crisis line, and various other forms of mental health support at this time. And if you're very kind enough to make a donation to Young Minds at youngminds.org.uk, link on the video below, I might show you the results of my daughter's haircutting skills. They are not pretty. I am not going to repeat the experience, but if you want to see what's under this hat, please give generously as much as you can to youngminds.org.uk. The topic for today is one that I've had many requests for a video about, which is about how to succeed in applications. So most of the questions I've had have been how to succeed in pupillage applications or training contract applications or other forms of legal jobs. But it seems to me that the lessons or the points that I'm going to make in this video apply equally to applying for any job, really. I've run businesses outside the law. I've been in recruiting staff for many roles, including legal roles. I also interview for Gray's Inn for scholarships. So I have seen hundreds of applications for scholarships, jobs, pupillage, and many other roles, and I've had to make decisions about who to recruit and who to take on in those positions going back many years, as well as doing interviews for many of those jobs. So I've got very considerable experience of what succeeds and what doesn't in applications. So here's just a few top tips from me to those of you who are applying for roles, whatever those roles are. Number one, your CV. I once got a CV to consider for a legal role that only had one typo in it. And that, to me, was a red letter day, because every other CV that I think I've seen from law graduates, postgraduates with postgraduate law degrees and professional qualifications, on average, I would say 10 to 15 typos in every CV that I see. I've never seen one with none. If you don't want to irritate those who are reviewing your CV, don't include any typos, particularly if you're applying for a professional role, but really any role, because if you can't be bothered to print out your CV and proofread it to check for basic spelling mistakes, like, for example, the name of the company you work for, or the name of the organisation you're applying to in the application form, then really, come on, who do you expect to give you a high-level, highly competitive professional job? Get your CV perfect. Get someone you trust who knows what they're doing to read it for you. Proofread it. Get 2 or 3 people to proofread it so there's no errors. And so it maximizes the impact and maximizes the selling points for you. So CV, perfect. Second thing, make yourself stand out. Don't just reel off a load of qualifications and a load of standard form achievements which often just demonstrate that you are fortunate enough to have wealthy parents. For example, if you've traveled all over the world, you've done all sorts of fascinating things, you're very lucky. But most people can't afford all of that. So I'm much more interested in you demonstrating that you've got real hard work, that you're prepared to do things that may be hard and difficult, and give you experience of the world. I'd rather have someone who worked as a shelf stacker in Tesco's than someone who's done 57 foreign, voluntary adventures. I'd rather someone had real world experience. So show that you're a real human being. One of the best pieces of experience I saw on an application on a CV was someone who worked as a barman in a cocktail bar who said he could make the perfect Singapore sling. And in the interview, I said to him, "How do you make it?" And he was telling the truth, and he reeled off the recipe, went through the whole thing with real passion. That was miles more important than almost anything else. He stands out now, and that's someone I interviewed years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. So something makes you stand out as a real human being. Also, the role you're applying for, passion. Demonstrate why you want to do it. Don't just make stuff. I mean, I'm not making this up. Someone put in their application that they've been inspired by the great advocates of the past to become a barrister. And I asked in the interview, which of those great advocates inspired you? And the candidate said, "Oh, I don't really know. I just thought that sounded good on the application." Well, it did. But if you can't back it up, don't put it on there. Put stuff on that demonstrates you've got real honesty, integrity, and passion, and stand out with stuff that is utterly unique to you, and not stuff that's going to be on 27 of the 30 applications that are being reviewed, because many of these roles have got really, really long lists of applicants. Dozens, if not hundreds. If you are just the same as everyone else with perfect exam results from great universities and all the rest of it, you are not going to stand out as much as the guy with the Singapore sling. Find your Singapore sling recipe. Find the thing that makes you unique and that you have passion for and that you've done to a high degree of perfection. And that's the thing that will set you apart from all the other bog standard candidates. Okay, so CV, real honesty, integrity, perfectionism in the application, and demonstrate who you are and why you're different and why you absolutely are passionate about the role you're applying for. Because if you're not, why should they give you it? Why should you be taken on out of the thousands of applications thousands of people that want to be lawyers, barristers, pupils? Why should you be taken on if you're just like everybody else? You won't stand a chance. Anyway, I've overrun my time. I hope it's been helpful. Please donate to youngminds.org.uk. And please bear in mind there's a lot of young people out there struggling with mental health. If you know who they are, if you've got them in your own family or know people who are kind of a little bit isolated, give them a call. Thanks for watching. I'll be back tomorrow.